I'm Deepak Chopra. You're watching One World with Deepak Chopra. The program is coming to you from NASDAQ OMEX market site here in New York City. And my very special guest is Eddie Stern. Thanks for coming by, Eddie.
Thanks for having me.
So, perhaps you don't know, but Eddie's Ashtanga Yoga specialist. He's been teaching Ashtanga Yoga here in New York City, but does a lot of philanthropy. We have a program together called the Urban Yogi. We'll talk about that. But I want to go back to your childhood. You grew up in New York City?
I grew up in New York. I was born at Lenox Hill Hospital. I grew up in Greenwich Village. My parents were from New York. My grandparents are from Manhattan.
And you were a troublemaker as a teenager, right?
I was a huge troublemaker as a teenager.
So tell me about that.
Well, like a lot of kids, I had a troubled youth. My parents split up when I was young. I acted out mainly through becoming a punk rocker and turning to alcohol and narcotics when I was quite young, around
Narcotics?
around 14 or 15.
Narcotics, what were you taking?
Well, I mean, I was using cocaine and I was using LSD and mushrooms and ecstasy, all before I was 18 years old.
My God. And drinking.
And drinking. I think probably early on, you know, my rebellious nature was a search for looking for something beyond the structure of what I felt was dissatisfying about the society I was living in, school in particular. And around the time I was 18, I learned about yoga from a friend I was working with in a record store. And when I started reading the books on yoga he was giving me, I realized that I could reach these states of consciousness and of clarity. The same things I was experiencing with LSD and with mushrooms, I could experience with yoga and meditation and chanting. So very quickly I stopped doing all those things and just embraced trying the yoga path with a lot more success and a lot more happiness. And also I felt much better, you know, when I would wake up in the morning without a drug hangover. So I really think those early days were a type of seeking something, but I didn't have the structure to look properly. I needed these outside things because I wasn't given the structure to look within. And I think this is one of the big shortcomings of our culture, is that you know, we don't have this ancient wisdom tradition of initiation of our elders leading us along to understand who am I and what am I doing here and how can I actualize myself in the world. Instead we have, you know, media, no offense NASDAQ, and all these types of artificial structures which are telling us how we should live and what we should look like and what we should read and all these types of things. But where is the instruction for the inner journey? And I think that's what I was looking for and what I eventually found.
Then you had a huge interlude in India. You went off to India.
Yes.
How many years were you in India?
Well, I started going to India when I was 20. And I went there every year, usually about twice a year, until 2009 when my teacher passed away. So 1988 to 2009, 21 years. 21 years. At one point, my wife and I spent about 15 months there, but I was usually there between 3 and 6 months a year for all that time. And
during that period, you learned how to speak and read Sanskrit?
I learned Sanskrit, I learned yoga, I learned philosophy, I learned ritual. I tried to learn how to become a good person. That's still a work in progress.
That's astonishing, because I've seen you do the rituals and the chanting, and you have more knowledge of Sanskrit than many Indians that I know. And you've kept up with it. You do these rituals here in New York.
Yes.
You have a temple.
We have a temple here that my teacher established.
And the school of yoga that you became an expert in is Ashtanga Yoga. Tell us a little bit about that.